Welcome back, everybody, and today we've got a follow-up that I didn't quite expect to see to a product we reviewed a little while ago, but a well-timed one, considering that back to school is going to be happening in a couple of months, and that is the new Okiocam T+. And if you remember, we unboxed and reviewed and played with the Okiocam T and the Okiocam S, and I basically said that they were great and that they'd be so much better if you paired them with a boogie board blackboard, which I think was like another $30. And I still stand by that statement. However, they saw that and basically said, you know what, we're going to drop the price of the Okiocam T. I think it was like $90 when I reviewed it, $95. It's now listed for $82 on Amazon. And we're going to introduce a new model that has basically no changes except for the document pad is now a dry erase board. Let's go ahead and get a look in here because we had two different versions of the packaging when we had a T and an S. And it came down to one was slightly newer packaging than the other. Same basic thing, cardboard box, all the same stuff on it basically, other than it says plus compared to the Okiocam T when we looked at it. Everything's in some bubble wrap. So we get a quick start guide, which says it includes the arm, the camera, the arm extender, the dry erase marker, the base dry erase board, and a microfiber cleaning cloth. That's a nice touch. Walks through the setup, basically the same as before. So the setup is fairly straightforward, just like the Okiocam T. We've got two different positions this can go in. We have a storage mode that stores all of our stuff. And then we have a usage mode that locks the arm like that. And then you can unfold your arm however you see fit. The camera head hasn't changed. Like I said, it looks like the Okiocam T. What has changed is that we now have a dry erase surface on the pad, which appears to be about the same size as the original. Unfortunately, my Okiocam T is on my desk at work. But we do have one other change, and this was one of the things I asked them for, and I hope this was added to the regular Okiocam models. And that is, they included a little rubber cable management item. Because I asked them, you know, this would be great, but there's no cable management. And I suggested Velcro, which is what I used on mine. And they told me they were just wrapping it around the base in the camera. And I told them, if you keep doing that, you're going to break the cable internally, and it's not going to work anymore. I don't know if their internal testing agreed with me or if they just went ahead with it, but someone somewhere, you know, maybe they came to the conclusion on their own outside of that, decided that they needed that. Outside of that, everything else on this looks the same. We've got a rib here, feels like the same. Glass reinforced plastic. We get a dry erase marker, which is probably the most generic looking dry erase marker I've ever seen. Dry erase marker, first time use, tap the nib until the ink comes through freely. Low odor, fine tip. And it's sealed in shrink-wrapped plastic. They probably could have partnered with someone to get a branded dry erase marker in here. And done that. There we go. The plastic on this thing kind of sucks. Alright, so there's our dry erase marker. What a weird thing. So it doesn't have like a top like I'd expect to see. And you can see that the tip is just kind of empty. So you're supposed to What's this say? Tap the nib until the ink comes through freely. So I'm just supposed to sit here and tap this and give it a shake. Oh, okay. So you give it a press. I see. So there's some kind of seal in here that breaks when you give it a press for the first time. And then we have a dry erase. Okay, so I can see why they did that now. That probably, this mechanism in here, allows them to ship it more easily and probably gives it a longer shelf life than if they had just turned to someone who just sells, the off-the-shelf expo markers that you'd buy at Staples. This probably lasts a little longer in the package. And then we get a microfiber cloth for erasing it. This is a nice touch. So we've got pretty standard microfiber like you'd see on most things here. And then we have a textured, patterned microfiber on the other side. And it just erases like I would expect. Looks like there's a couple of instructions in here. Please only write on the base with dry erase markers. To thoroughly clean, use a warm, damp cloth, which I used a dry cloth here. If you have a ton of marker, you can use a damp cloth that says, do not use alcohol-based cleaners or other chemical cleaners. My guess would be that since this is a more textured surface than your normal hard plastic dry erase boards, is that alcohol would seep into and destroy the foam that they used, and you can feel on these edges that there is like a foam in there. But that's it. So the Okiocam T Plus is the Okiocam T with a dry erase marker and a dry erase board surface. So I can showcase my terrible handwriting on camera. As far as updates go, this was overall a good one. Even if you don't want to use the dry erase board, I like that they included cable management. And would I necessarily buy the Okiocam T Plus over the Okiocam T myself? Probably not. I don't write under the camera a whole ton. Now, if I was buying this as a teacher or for students, absolutely. A lot of the things that the boogie board could do, the dry erase can do. The boogie board still has advantages over the dry erase, and I still think it's a good combo. The boogie board was a one-button erase. This is a low odor, but it's not no odor. Not particularly bagging my studio here, which is, a roughly 8-foot across space, but especially once this marker runs out, not all dry erase markers are low odor and non-toxic and all that lovely stuff. And, dry erase is great, but especially if you forget to erase things, it can be a pain in the ass to clean. And this does suggest not using some of the harsher cleaners that I'm familiar with that would really help. So it's a great addition, and I love the improvement that they made here. I don't think it really changes my original position on the Okiocam T as a good device that they're clearly taking note on things that maybe they got some back that people had done that with and the cables broke. Maybe they did some testing at our suggestion and found that we weren't just talking out our ass. But overall, they're making improvements. They're making steady improvements. and they're doing so in a way that enhances the existing product without necessarily throwing out all their design and development that previously existed. This, I think, fills the same exact role that the Okiocam T did, and I guess where I'm going to have to leave it at, and I'll do something extended with this if anyone's curious. Maybe I'll give the software another go, because I just haven't used it a whole ton myself. I've just used it as an overhead camera to show off things on my desk. Is that if you think you'll use the dry erase board, you know what? For an extra $10, get it. If you absolutely are 100% sure that you won't use the dry erase board, well, the introduction of the Okiocam T Plus means that the Okiocam T is slightly cheaper. So my recommendation that it was the better of the two models between the S and the T, and that it was well worth the price difference between them, not only still stands, but the price difference between them has closed slightly. Actually, I should look up the price on the Okiocam S before I say that. For 100% fact, it may have had its price reduced as well, but I'm not going to count on that just yet. So there we have the Okiocam T Plus. I want to thank Okiocam for sending this in. They asked if I was curious to see the improvements they made, and I'm glad that they did. I love little things like this. Low-hanging fruit. How do I make the product better that doesn't really cost me a whole ton, but improves durability, reliability, user experience? Stuff like that. I know it's not a huge back to the drawing board change, but that's a fantastic improvement that I like seeing. And I'm going to ask if that's on all the others at this point. The dry erase board, it's a good idea. I'm not sure it's an idea for me, but I definitely see the application, especially for teachers, which I think is who the T model really is for. They can write some stuff up there for their students, just like they would at a chalkboard. Hopefully more people are back in school in person this year, but a lot of that is still, it is what it is, and I think we're going to rely on technology like this a lot more going forward than we had previously. Especially in things that don't have to be in person. We might not do as much of that in person. As always, I want to thank Electrix for providing our opening and closing themes. I want to thank anyone who helps support Pocketables, either through our Amazon affiliate links or via Patreon. It is support like this that helps make content like this possible. And finally, thank you for watching.